po, hanggang ngayong araw, sinuspinde ng Department of Education ang face-to-face classes sa National Capital Region. Dahil daw po tumataas ang bilang ng influenza-like illnesses na nararanasan ng mga mag-aaral at school personnel. 2 araw na po nagsasagawa ng cleaning and disinfection sa mga classrooms at common areas sa mga paaralan. Kaya ang tanong, dapat bang ikabahala ang surge ng flu-like illnesses sa bansa? At ano pa ba ang ibang measures na pwedeng gawin para makaiwas na magkahawahan sa loob ng paaralan? Para sagutin po ang mga tanong natin, makasama natin muli si Doc Samantha Punzalan. Hello, Doc. Welcome back.
Good morning. Thank you for the invite.
Siyempre, Doc, pag may mga sakit-sakit na, ikaw na yung tinatawagan namin kapag marami na ang meron nito. First off, yun na nga, tinatanong ko nga sa'yo, bakit flu-like ang tawag nila dito sa illness na to at hindi na lang basta-basta flu?
Kasi basically most viral illnesses kasi, yung presentasyon ng symptoms is almost the same.
Okay.
They will have the typical cough, fever, at saka body malaise o yung panghihina ng katawan. So, walang specific, hindi ina-identify yung virus because maraming virus ang ganun ang presentasyon. Kaya, flu-like or influenza-like illness ang tawag nila.
Okay. So, does that mean, though, Doc, that there's something different about this particular version na nagkukos ng sakit to so many children and school personnel?
In terms ng may something special ba sa kanya? In general, they have the same symptoms, pare-parehas yung symptoms na nararamdaman, but because of yung increasing number, that's why I think yung pag-address niya is something na kailangan i-control. Kasi medyo madami talaga actually, not just in schools but even in workplaces. Actually.
Ibig sabihin ba nito, Doc, mas virulent? Virulent?
Virulent, yes. Virulent.
Itong virus na to?
So in terms of, kasi nga, that's why they call it influenza-like or flu-like illness. Kasi hindi matrace exactly na isang klaseng virus lang siya. There are actually multiple viruses that were noted during this case. Like, sa practice ko, actually, may mga nakita ko na diagnose ko talaga na influenza A kasi they turned out positive for the test. Tapos, yung iba, negative, but they also present dun sa same na symptoms. So, merong ibang viruses like rhinoviruses, may ibang klase ng coronaviruses din, tapos mga respiratory syncytial virus. So, actually, marami sila na present the same way. But, yun nga, that's why they're not calling it one entity kasi marami. Tapos, minsan may iba pang viruses like Coxsackie viruses na will present with almost the same symptoms.
Okay. Ano kaya po ang nagiging posibleng cause ng pagtaas ng kaso lately? Is this it, we know that we're already in the Burr months and it's starting to get cold, cooler, not cold. Is it because of that, perhaps?
It's one of the factors that is probably causing bakit mataas yung kaso natin. Kasi una, environment, yes, environment. In terms of the past few days, ang dami nating naging bagyo. Sunod-sunod yung naging bagyo. So, most viruses actually will survive a cooler temperature. Mas nagiging stable yung viruses. So, yung lifespan niya, yung buhay ng virus can actually withstand because of that cooler temperature. So, in terms ng, yun nga, pag-stay niya sa environment, so, once na merong isang tao na nagka-symptomas, tapos naikalat niya because of umuubo siya, tapos yun na-aerosolize, or nailalagay sa mga contact surfaces. So, mas nabubuhay silang mas matagal. Mas mataas yung chance na makakuha yung ibang tao kasi mas matagal siyang nakasuspend sa hangin or yun nga, nasa surfaces. So, kaya tumataas yung kaso natin. Tapos yun nga, dahil sa weather, sunod-sunod na bagyo. So, talagang manonotice naman natin na mas cooler yung temperature. So, it adds to yung virulence o yung pagiging buhay ng virus.
Okay. What symptoms are we talking about here when we're talking about these influenza-like illnesses? Is it the usual cough and cold, and then yun na nga yung body malaise that
So,
you said? May fever din yan, Doc.
Yes. So, in general, as yung na-mention ko, yung three important symptoms niya is lagnat, ubo, at saka panghihina ng katawan. Pero, may mga instances na po pwedeng magkaroon ng rashes, yung iba po pwedeng actually may diarrhea, or sometimes may ibang mga pasyente na masakit lang ang ulo. So, actually, ano siya, maraming klase ng mga general symptoms. But in most common, pati sipon actually.
Yes.
So, pero yung pinaka-common na presentasyon niya is lagnat, ubo, at saka panghihina ng katawan.
Kailangan pa ba ito ipa-check sa doctor kapag ito yung mga simptomas na lumalabas, Doc? Kasi, di ba, viruses can't be helped. You just have to treat the symptoms, di ba?
Yes, so parang isa-surpass lang ng body mo as long as maganda yung immune system. But, there are certain populations o may yung mga klase ng tao na medyo mas tatagal yung infection or mas magkakaroon ng posibleng komplikasyon. So, may mga pasyente na usually kasi ang mga flu-like illnesses usually will last from 3 to 5 days or ang pinaka-longest na siguro is 1 week. But for patients na talagang lumagpas pa despite that na hindi improving yung symptoms, that's actually probably a time that they might need to seek consult kasi baka nagkakaroon na ng secondary bacterial infection or sometimes yung complications of just having the virus itself.
Okay. In which case, ano pong klaseng tests ang kailangan i-administer to them?
So, for those patients, yung mga hindi lang dun sa tatlong symptoms, meron siyang yung mga atypical symptoms. So, sometimes, yung pinaka-common that we request is yung CBC so that we can assess kung gaano kataas yung inflammation. Not just infection, it's the inflammation. Tapos, for patients certain like you may nadidehydrate because of the viral infection in itself. So, we request for electrolytes. And if available actually, so as I've mentioned, influenza, although hindi nga nila tinatag na it's just influenza A, but kasi ang influenza has antiviral medications available. So, kung magpa-positive siya doon, we can actually offer the antiviral medications.
Okay. Doc, di ba every year, people are advised to get that year's version of the flu vaccine?
Yes.
So, ibig ba sabihin, hindi nakuha ng 2025 flu vaccine itong mga nangyaring influenza-like cases na ito? Or it's totally different?
Actually, well,
Nag-mutate kasi
we can,
sila, di
yes,
ba?
definitely. So,
Hindi pa siya ano, parang gusto mong sabihin, huy, next year ka pa dapat mag-mutate, di ba? Para naman hindi
yes.
sayang yung vaccine na kinuha namin this year.
Possibly multifactorial din siya. So, hindi natin alam. Actually, malaking epekto talaga in terms of viral infections, ang immunity, general immunity, so mass immunity. So, kung pwedeng yung population is hindi lahat na bakunahan, so mas mataas din yung chance na pwede siyang mag-mutate. Kasi nga, walang immunity. But, sabi nga, hindi, meron ba talagang ideal time when do we give the vaccine? Ideally, it should be given at least nung mga earlier, mga first or second quarter of the year so that you can actually maximize yung benefit ng pagkakaroon ng vaccine. But, siguro nga dahil doon sa other risk factors that maliban doon sa strain o yung particular strain ngayon, pwede dahil nga din sa weather natin kasi nga nagbabagyo, tapos itong sunod-sunod na especially mga enclosed spaces. So mas common na actually pagtatanong mo, kaya nga schools ang medyo
Hardest hit.
Particularly mga estudyante kasi they are in enclosed spaces na ang ventilation could just be at a closed door tapos naka-aircon.
Yeah.
So, yung tendency talaga is malamig. So, talaga magpa-persist yung viruses. Tapos sa workplaces, especially nga, lahat tayo naka-aircon despite na malamig.
Oo.
So, pwede siyang nag-contribute to yung klase ng ano natin, medyo mas grabe or hindi man grabe, but madami.
Okay.
Madami.
Itong health break na ginawa ng DepEd, Doc, for 2 days, do you think this is enough to maybe, ano ba, curtail or lessen the cases?
In a way, yes, definitely. Ang environmental cleaning, basically,
Oo.
yun yung ginagawa ng government. Kaya siguro, that's why pinurso nila yung 2-day holiday break for the kids. Kasi,
Oo.
yun, maglilinis. So, definitely, they will clean up the surfaces. Tapos siguro, they will do something with the aerosol to minimize.
Yeah.
But in terms of, there are still viruses outside. So, at least within those enclosed spaces, at least ma-minimize natin yung chances na magkaroon yung those who are in the places na maglilinis. But, yun nga, kasi we cannot control the weather. So, etong is, I think additional than the cleaning is, we advise, syempre, yung proper etiquette of coughing. So, once a patient o may isa ng nakakaramdam ng mga mild symptoms, so definitely, isolate na. Kasi nga, we can transmute o matransmit yung infection through coughing, tapos through surfaces. So, yung general hand washing, at least dapat i-promote regularly to places that are at high risk for these people to have viral infections.
Kasi wala po bang mga every year, wala po bang flu vaccines ang ating Department of Health that is given to like a big or a majority of the population? to
Definitely,
prevent this?
it's part of the program, but I think yung rollout time lang ang nagkakaiba-iba. Depende kasi tapos yung availability ng vaccines. Tapos at the same time, syempre, we try to prioritize syempre yung mga most high-risk groups like mas priority is mga elderly, particularly 65 years old and above. And yung mga pregnant women is actually at a higher risk for severe complications of flu-like illnesses, not just influenza. And children who are 5 years and below. But of course, iba ang indication ng vaccine sa kanila. So at least they get the shots. And then, for those in between that age group, yung mga ibang may higher risk like mga immunocompromised, yung mga may chronic diseases like diabetes, mga uncontrolled, mga immunosuppressed medications like mga cancer therapy. So, sila yung priority. So, yun sana. I think yung number, yung time ng rollout sana ay maibigay nga ideally first or second quarter of the year. But yeah.
Oo. So, right now, ang payong maibibigay na lamang natin sa ating mga kada is to help prevent it, 'di ba? Kaya Doc, ikaw na ang bahala sa kanila. Please remind them again kung paano nila mas effectively mape-prevent yung spread.
So, syempre, of course, during the season, so we don't know who have meron ng virus. So primary is protection sa sarili. So, whenever meron ka ma-encounter na may nagka-coughing, syempre, at least you minimize or you maintain a certain distance. Tapos, you regularly wash your hands kasi you don't know anong surfaces ang merong virus na ngayon. And at the same time, once na meron kang actually actively nararamdaman na symptoms, so you do precaution na din na you isolate so as to minimize yung risk na pwede mong maihawa sa iba. Tapos, syempre yung ideal sana, you get your yearly flu vaccination just to make sure that vaccines will not prevent you from getting the infection. It will lessen yung risk of getting more severe complications from the infection. Tapos pwede ding ma-shorter duration din yung illness niya.
Yun. Maraming salamat, Doc Samantha. Thanks for joining us today. And please reminder, Kadas, na kung paano po kayo pwedeng makontak for further consultations.
I'm active in online teleconsult at SiriusMD. I am also holding my private clinic at the Los Santos Medical Center and in Bukawi Specialist Medical Center. Yeah.
Yay! Maraming salamat, Doc Sam! And we have a gift from Lux White for you for coming
thank
over. Maraming salamat po and stay safe and healthy. At mga kada, anumang balita na may kinalaman po sa ating kalusugan ay hindi dapat ipinagwawalang bahala. Tulad na lang po ng pagtaas ng bilang ng kaso ng flu-like illnesses sa mga paaralan na dapat ay bigyan pansin at huwag pabayaan. Tandaan, prevention is better than cure.
Let's get together. Sunday 25. Sunday 25.